Hey guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about lines. So we've talked in the past about lines, like how to notate a line. Let's say we have this line here. We can call this line AB. But now we're going to talk about if we have more than one line and how they can relate to each other. So let's say we have line AB here, and let's say we have another line. We'll just make it right here, and we'll call it line CD. Line CD. Now when you have two lines, there's a couple of possibilities. The first one we're going to look at is, let's say these lines never intersect. From our past, we should know that means that they are parallel. So two lines that never intersect, we call those parallel lines. Now, how we notate that, line AB and line CD, to say that they're parallel to each other, there's a special notation. We draw these two little lines like this, and this whole statement here would be read, line AB is parallel to line CD. On the actual figure, we can mark them parallel by drawing a little arrow like this on each line. That means they are parallel with one another. So right now, with parallel lines, it's not going to give us too much information because we're kind of focusing on angles right now. So since they don't intersect, they're not going to form any angles. But it is good to know this notation, that this symbol means parallel, because we will talk about really special things that happen with parallel lines in a few days. So if we have two lines now that aren't parallel, your other possibility would be you have what we call intersecting lines. And intersecting lines, that's just going to be if you have two lines that intersect. They have one point in common. So two lines, they can intersect, but they'll only intersect at one point. And whenever you have intersecting lines, they're going to form four angles. Two of those angles will be a pair of vertical angles, like 1 and 3 are vertical angles, and 2 and 4 are vertical angles. So whenever two lines intersect, you're going to have two pairs of vertical angles. 1 and 3 are vertical, 2 and 4 are vertical. And you're also going to have supplementary angles. Angle 1 and angle 4 are supplementary because they add up to 180 together. Also, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary because they add up to 180 together. Then you're also going to have 2 and 3 are supplementary because they add up to 180. And also 4 and 3 are supplementary because they add up to 180. So in the event that lines are not parallel and they intersect with each other, we call that intersecting lines. And they have one point in common. That point will be the vertex of 4 different angles. And it's good to know those special relationships. Our last possibility is a special case of intersecting lines. And we call these lines perpendicular. So perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect. Say they look like this. And when they intersect, they form right angles. In fact, 4 right angles. So here we have line AB, and we have line CD. If two lines are perpendicular, they intersect, and they form 4 right angles. Our special symbol for this looks like that. This would be read as line AB is perpendicular with line CD. And what's special about this is there's going to be 4 right angles that are formed from this. Now we can use this in various problems. If we know we have perpendicular lines, then we know that we have right angles, which can be really useful. Like for example, let's say we have these two lines, and I'll use lowercase letters for these, L and M. If line L is perpendicular to line M, then we know all these angles are 90 degrees, but let's say there's a little ray that comes out here, and we have angle 1 and angle 2. Since line L is perpendicular with line M, these two lines are perpendicular, we know that this angle here is going to be 90, so we also know that angle 1 and 2, well, those angles are complementary, because complementary means they add up to 90. So with perpendicular lines, if you have rays coming out as well, you're going to end up having complementary angles. So if we knew the measure of angle 1 was 32 degrees, then we would know the measure of angle 2 is 58 degrees, because they have to add up to 90. Now this is only going to work if we know that these lines are perpendicular. If they're not perpendicular, we don't know that that's a 90-degree angle. But if we know they are perpendicular, then we know that has to be 90, so we know they have to be complementary. So these are things that are going to come up and we can use to our advantage in the future.